getting things set up this morning. But welcome to the Pillaging Pirate Tavern. Um, I got my buddy Skinny behind me here. There you go. You can see Skinny a little bit better. Um, quick story here. So I'm going to set up for this live, and I'm getting everything together, and I'm ready. And then all of a sudden, nothing seems to work. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Last couple of weeks, everything's been fine. And then I realized that 2 days ago, my phone did an update. And when my phone did an update, things like my dictation went, I'd start speaking in and dictating and put punctuation in weird places. And so, I'm not real good at texting with my thumbs. So that's why I dictate to my phone. Yeah, it's in weird places. And it would say weird things that I didn't mean to say. So some of my posts and messages reflect that. Well, also, as I'm going in, getting my settings ready, trying to get this live stream going, same thing. Nothing seems to work. So thank you to the people who put these updates together for our phones to keep our phones safe and better to use and all that. Leave my phone the hell alone, okay? Jeez. I hate these updates. I just got to tell you. So anyway, there. Now I've had my rant for today. I hope everybody is having a beautiful morning. It's been really nice here. We hit 81 degrees on Friday. Friday? Yeah, Friday. We had 81 degrees. It was tied the record that had been held for like 100 years, And yesterday it was in the upper 70s. Today it's supposed to be there. Hey, Mark, how are you? It's good to see you. I decided today, been very, very busy this week, and I decided that yesterday actually, that I was just going to do a live, but we do it at the Pillaging Pirate because I've been putting some things together in here for a little get together I'm going to be having in another week with some friends of mine, and that's why I put the Pillaging Pirate Tavern together, was so we'd have a place we could come and sit and enjoy and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's why we're here instead of outside where it's beautiful today, but it's a gorgeous day. It's supposed to be pretty good for a while. Then we hit normal temperatures this week. Temperature goes down a little bit, but we'll see how things go. I'm so happy to have spring here. I mean, real spring, as in things can grow spring, as in things don't grow and then freeze to death spring, that kind of thing. Hey, Chris, how are you? It's good to see you. I haven't been making it to the meetings for quite some time. There's a couple of different things going on. One is, I watch my grandkids so darn much. Sometimes it gets into the evening, and honestly, some days when we have our meetings, usually Tuesday or Thursday, I get through watching the kids, and I've got like an hour before I have to be at a meeting. What happens when you come home from work? You don't want to go anywhere immediately, do you? And it's kind of the same way with me. The grandkids leave, and I'm like, well, they don't all leave, but most of them that I'm watching leave. And then I say, I just want some me time. So I don't make it. I don't make the meetings very often anymore. Not that I don't like you guys, and I love what's going on with the club. I love that we've got a lot of new members. I think it's great. By the way, the IPMS, for those of you who don't know, the IPMS, the International Plastic Scale Modeler Society, they meet monthly here in Salt Lake City. We have a chapter here in Salt Lake, and honestly, they are some of the best, really, and I mean this, best modelers anywhere. And I can say that because a lot of national awards from nationals come out of modelers from here in Salt Lake, and some very famous modelers from the past that don't model anymore for different reasons. that have been in national, international competitions and won things. So it's a very good group to be a part of. It's got a great legacy, and I have learned a lot over the years with my IPMS brothers. The modeling group is a close knit group. One of the sad things is we all get older, and the guys that were in the group 10 years ago, more than half of them are gone. They're like skinny here. So anyway, on the channel, let's get back. Sorry, I get on these rants. So on the channel, last week, what did we do? We did something to do with, oh yeah, we did part one of the demon build. We did the paint on it. So as I was mixing this paint together, now you got to keep in mind that I think I'd rather have 2 or 3 root canals than actually spray an acrylic, water-based paint on a model car. I've done it before. I don't ever want to have to do it again. Let's put it that way. So I find alternatives. I've used automotive grade paint, both the 2-stage and single stage. I really like to spray Testors Model Master or the Color by Boyd line that they used to have. And I still have quite a few of those colors left. Well, as I was mixing, because I wanted a certain look. I wanted a special red that was kind of a loud, bright, grab you, for this demon. Again, living in a pretend world, which we can in modeling, I wanted to build the demon that they should have built in 1971. And what I think they should have built would have been this special edition demon that had a 426 Hemi in it, that had 4-speed with Dana 60 rear end. And we use the word Hellcat now, so I thought, well, we'll call it the Hellhound edition, okay, in Merv's modeling world. But I needed a special series of colors. I figured if they're going to release this special edition car, they'll do it in special edition colors. And so, Hellfire Red. I came up with the name Hellfire Red, and decided I wanted something with lots of metal flake in it that would just really grab you. Well, as I'm mixing this paint with some stuff I've got, I sprayed the thing and I went, this is really cool. This is probably the best red that I personally have ever seen, as far as not just that I've mixed, but I like. Once it dried and you could see all of the metallic, very, very, very fine metallic in it, and it's gold metallic, it really, really popped. So the pictures of the model just don't do it justice, even though it does look good. I was able to secure, for a hood scoop, I was able to get one from a Coronet kit. There's a 70 Coronet on the market, and I can't remember if it actually came with the scoop separate, if it was part of one of the hoods, but regardless, I resin cast it. I made a mold, I resin cast it, and that's where we got that pitchfork hood scoop that's on it. And I have a couple of those. They aren't easy to graft on, but I was able to do it, and I think it turned out okay. So I'm still working on the interior. That's why we're not doing a show on that tomorrow, because I'm still working on the interior. It's been a busy week, and I want to get this thing right so that when I show it, hopefully it'll inspire some folks. So anyway, so that was last week. There was, what did we do on the stash? I don't even remember. Oh, it was the Victorious. Yeah, HMS Victorious. The whole reason I got that. So I've got this 700 scale fleet in here that is pretty much US and Japanese, all of the main contenders from after Pearl Harbor to Guadalcanal in 700 scale. And I thought I had the entire fleet, but no, I had So if you have Coral Sea, Midway, um, any of those type of battles, I've got the ships for it, all of the correct ships. I mean, there's hundreds of them. But what I didn't have was the Battle of the Java Sea, some of those, the Asiatic fleet, and particularly where the British helped out and the Australians helped out in the Pacific early in the war. And I thought, I probably ought to add to that. So that's where I picked up. I had a Prince of Wales, but I picked up that in the Repulse. And I started doing some more, research, watching videos and stuff. And I came across, well, years ago I knew about this, but it really never clicked all that well. So in the dark days in the Pacific, when we were losing carriers like crazy, and we had the Enterprise was it standing against Japan. The Saratoga was also in the Pacific, but it kept getting torpedoed pretty much every time it would go out. It did get a torpedo or some kind of damage and have to go back for repairs. So at one point it was Enterprise against Japan. Then finally Saratoga comes back into action, and the Enterprise is damaged. It has to go to the coast. So now you've got Saratoga against Japan. So President Roosevelt had gone to Winston Churchill, said, "Hey, Winnie, I need some help," and asked for a carrier. You guys have a spare carrier we could borrow? And he agreed. They were good friends. They made great allies. And against Admiral King, who was, as far as I'm concerned, a total D-bag. I mean, what an idiot. His the American Navy superiority is how he was. He was one of those. We had several admirals like that previous to and into World War II that, we don't need to worry. We're the best, kind of thing. And they found out at Guadalcanal, I guess we're not the best. The Japanese bested them easily with some great torpedoes. And and Admiral King was, "No, we don't need another carrier. We could take care of this." No. Roosevelt overruled him, and we got a carrier loaned to us, which was the HMS Victorious. It went to, was it New York or Norfolk? I guess it was Norfolk. Went to Norfolk and had the flight deck lengthened, had some extra anti-aircraft guns put on it, and started training as an American ship. Had, of course, a bunch of British on board, British sailors who knew the ship and knew what to do. But a lot of the British aircraft were disembarked at that point, and along comes the Avenger and the I think we had the Hellcat by then. No, it was still the Wildcat, because the British called it the Martlet. We had those, and here we go. Off to the Pacific, where she spent, I want to say about 4 months running around with Saratoga. Fortunately, it was a time when there was kind of a lull. Not really a lull, but as far as the Navy goes, there was kind of a lull. And both carriers were undamaged. Everything went fine. And by this time, we start getting the Essex class, online. So, thank you, Mr. Churchill. Appreciate you letting us use your carrier. Here you go. Take it back. But anyway, so I want to build it. I have a model of it somewhere that I've built, but it's not accurate. I wanted to build an accurate rendition with the extra anti-aircraft guns, and she did receive a paint job. Now, the British had these beautiful, really cool maritime paint jobs during World War II, multicolor, and that was painted over with with navy blue, and off she went to the Pacific. So that's what I want to build, and that's a project that's going to be coming up here in the next few months. So anyway, that's what we reviewed was the kit. Now, coming up this week, I don't know. I have no clue. I've got several things here that we can look at. That's off the top of my head. I can't tell you what we're going to put on Thursday. I can tell you what we're going to do tomorrow. And so for Mark and for Chris, I can tell you, you guys are local and should get some interest out of this. For my local folks, I'm going to do a piece on old schools of Salt Lake, which is the Echoes from the Chalkboard series. Now, real quick, a couple of years back, not long, there was an audit done by the Utah State School Board, looked at the money that we were spending, looked at our schools, at our enrollment, and said, hey, you guys are spending a lot of money. You guys have got schools that are running with, 200-300 kids. This ain't going to cut it. So the school board had to go back and look, and they decided that we needed to close some schools. And they had originally recommended several. The Salt Lake City School Board decided, well, 4. We'll close 4. We'll realign the boundaries so that the other ones have more kids in them. So they're closing 4 schools. I've done a show on the old Jackson school that they're closing down. Now, these schools are closing in a few weeks. I mean, as soon as summer gets here, the school is closed. Kids will go somewhere else. The sad part for those of us here is places like Hawthorne have been around for 115 years or so. Jackson was first incorporated into the school district. I think it was one of the original 1890 buildings. If not, it was close. I mean, so we're talking over 120 years. Some of these have been around for a very long time, and they are closing them due to the low enrollment and the availability of other nearby schools. So I talked about Jackson before. We've covered one called Benyon. It sits on the site. It's a more modern building, but it sits on the site of the old Webster School downtown. And we covered that before they were closing it, but I've done a segment on that. So I figured I'd better do Hawthorne. And then right before summer comes, I'll do one on the final school, which is Riley, that they're closing. So anyway, that's what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is a little short, brief history of the Hawthorne School and the area, because that's an area that also has some family ties to me and some interesting Salt Lake City history. So for those of you interested in the Salt Lake history or the old schools, there you go. That's what we're doing tomorrow. And that buys me some time because I've been a little distracted this week. I've been doing normal, 3 or 4 different things at once, and I didn't get the Demon finished. I still don't have the Guam finished. The photo etch is just killing me on that thing. I'm down to the cranes and the catapults, which are the last 2 things I have to do, but they're 95% photo etch. So it's taken a lot of time to get that finished. Then I've got a few touch-ups on the paint, and then I'll be done. I'll be done. I didn't know you lived up there, Chris. So you'll find out tomorrow, Chris, that 17 South, that used to be called Tempest Avenue, believe it or not, many years ago. And you know about all the canals and the little rivers and stuff that run through the neighborhood. In some of the old Sanborn maps I have access to, you can see where they run and the neighborhoods they run through, the yards that they run through. Of course, now they're covered up, but they're still there. There's still water running through them. So, but yeah, really, really cool kind of a neighborhood where my grandparents actually spent a lot of years in their I call it childbearing years. So several of my uncles and aunts were actually born in that neighborhood way back when. Anyway, so I've been very busy trying to get the Guam finished, trying to get the Demon finished, And then I got a little distracted with one of my pirate ships that I want to move down to my office. So as I was looking at it and going to clean it up a little bit, of course, I got hooked. There's a few little things I need to do to it to make it better. So, yeah, typical modeler, get distracted. Squirrel, just get distracted from things. But it's been a wonderful time, a busy time. I'm glad that spring is here, and now, next week I'll be getting grass repaired. My backyard's torn up, so I'll be getting grass in, and we'll be back to sitting out on the veranda enjoying our morning coffee. So today, I'm headed to a friend's house. He turns 60. Funny thing, all my friends are getting close or have been there not long ago. We're all about the same age. But this is, one of my dearest friends. His name's Dave. And Dave and I have known each other since high school. Most of my friends that I've kept from high school, we all had one class together. It was called Small Engines. And the second half of the year, it was home repair. So you do things like repair little things. Hey, MP, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for joining me. That's Portugal. Wow. I bet it's beautiful there today. I bet it's a beautiful day. But man, thanks for joining. It's great. It's great to have you on here. I will be doing more lives. In fact, I'll get to that in just a minute. Actually, maybe I'll get to it now. Back up to some of the things I was doing this week. I was talking with my good friend, Breaker Broke 23. You guys know him as. I know him as Mike Dove. Oh yeah, great. Glad to hear it. Glad you're having a good weather over there, my man. Hey, we're just talking about you, Mike. So I was talking to my good friend, Breaker Broke 23, and one of the ideas that we're kind of bouncing off each other's old craniums. Mine's easier to bounce off of, by the way. Is doing a live show and have a meet and greet. I haven't done a meet and greet. I've been wanting to do it. Back at the days we were at the hobby shop doing the Saturday contests, I wanted to do one. I know your ears are burning. The other burning you've got, they do have a shot you can get for that. So just saying. But anyway, I digress. We've talked about it, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to do a meet and greet somewhere kind of fun, somewhere kind of maybe historic. I don't know, just something that ties into both CB radios and modeling and all that other fun stuff. It's funny because we both have the same kind of age demographics as far as our viewers, because young kids, they got a cell phone and all that crap. They don't remember CBs, but those of us older folks remember that's how you used to talk, was on your CB. I remember there were people that I couldn't get a hold of on the phone, or I couldn't use the phone because my sister was on it or my mom was on it. You had one phone and it was tied to a line in the house. And I remember going out to my Cougar, my old 68 Cougar, sitting there in the driveway, turning on my CB and contacting one of my friends who also had a CB and would listen and that's how we would talk. My brother was big into CB radios. He was big into all kinds of electronics. He used to build radios. He was really an amazing man, and a huge loss in my life when I lost him. But he's how I kind of learned a little bit about CB radios. So anyway, I've mentioned Mike before. Check out his channel. He's fun to listen to. he's entertaining, but even if you're not into CB radios, it gets you. It'll take you back to memories that you had, and it's still a big thing. There's still manufacturers out there making great radios than what we had way back in the day. So get a chance, check him out again. There's your shout out for the week. Um, anyway, I'm headed over to Dave's today. Dave turned 60. Dave and I met in the small engines class. You remember Southwell's class, Mike? Small engines, home repair. Uh, anyway, that's where I met a lot of my friends. My freshman year in high school was in my small engines class. Uh, someday I'm going to share reminiscences of that and some of the fun stories. It was the funnest class I took in high school. And yes, I will say hi to Dave. Be seeing him soon. Mark Miller and I are headed out there probably about 1 o'clock today. Yeah, good old Southwell. You know, it was 10 years ago. April 1st was his funeral. Was 10 years ago. I kind of kept track of Southwell afterwards because he was into the Lincoln Highway, which is the very first east-west highway, and it ran through Salt Lake City. And he was really big into the Lincoln Highway history. So we struck up our relationship, our friendship, on the basis of me being, this historian. He received an award from Utah State Historical Society for his work in the Lincoln Highway, and I was there when he got the award. Went to the big shindig he had in his backyard afterwards. Southwell was a great guy, and when he passed, it was a gut punch. He was one of those teachers that made a difference. He really did. But he was my welding teacher. He was my metal shop teacher. I had him for several different things. And old Southwell, he was a happy dude. Oh yeah. Cool. Well, MP, yeah, check out Wagon Master 390 or Breaker Broke 23. He's got two different channels, but he does this Wagon Master. He has a live every Thursday night, so check him out. I think it'd be cool. Anyway, back to where I was. So Southwell, he was back east in Indiana, traveling, doing some work for the foundation, the historical foundation that does stuff for the Lincoln Highway, and he passed away in his sleep. And this was 10 years ago. I went to his funeral, saw old Ralph Smart there, a few other, I think John Pino was there too, as I recall. Those are names, blast from the past for those of us from high school. Some of our teachers that, we'll never forget them. Anyway. Small engines is where I met Dave. I remember I was doing some work on my Cougar. He said, "Yeah, I'll come help." But I remember him riding his Schwinn up to where I had the car parked outside the auto shop on a weekend, and we were working on the car together. So that's kind of where our friendship struck up. He was given a Chevy Nova by his mom. It was his mom's old car, and I remember him fixing that up. I fixed up my Cougar. We kind of had our own little clique, the Highland High Drag Racing Association, as we called us ourselves. And there was a few of us in the group. We had a lot of fun back then. It really was a great time. So anyway, coming up. Oh yeah. So in the next few weeks, I'm hoping to get this. Well, we'll have part 2 of the Demon. I'm hoping to get this Guam finished up, and we'll do a piece on that. I'm also trying to, around the first part of May, go on a little jaunt to the Transcontinental Railroad and do some exploring up there in the desert. There's some old ghost towns that now ghost towns is in foundations, and rails is about it. You don't have, and of course cemeteries. Those are the one things that kind of stay are the cemeteries. But as far as buildings, things like that, they're all gone. They're long since gone. And we'll tell the story about that when we get up there. If you look back a few years ago, the first couple of years I started my channel, there's a few things on Promontory and the railroad up there, so check it out. It's coming up at the Golden Spike anniversary, May 9th, and I think I'll be there this year. Pretty sure I'll be there this year, so we'll see what happens. All right, you guys, it's wonderful to have so many of you with me this morning. I really appreciate the viewership. I appreciate all that you guys do and bring to my life, because when you get retired, sometimes you lose that purpose that you had. Take care, Mike. Talk to you soon. We will do lunch this week. Sometimes you lose your purpose a little bit, because when you were working, you had something all the time. Hey, Mark. Take care, man. Today is one of those days I get to reflect on that a little bit with Dave. You know, the whole career thing. He was a custodian as well for his whole career, and you know, it kind of leaves a void when you retire and you find other things to fill it. Like I found, you know, a lot of time with grandkids. But where I'm going with this is the purpose of this channel is to try and educate. It's to try and share and inspire people. You know, just me sitting talking isn't going to do any good in this world. What hopefully will do some good is if we do something that inspires you to do something. Because unless you do something, nothing happens. So that's why I keep going on the channel, is to try and inspire and try and help. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm gonna go see my son, and then I'm headed off to Dave's. So, see you tomorrow for the history of Hawthorne. Take care, you guys. Hey, thanks for doing that, MP. Mike will absolutely love it.